Every story, no matter how big or small, has a beginning. Sometimes we hear of friends meeting in a tavern. Other times we learn of plotting viziers and strange thieves. Sometimes we learn of small, orphaned children, learning through a series of wacky events that they are destined for greatness. And sometimes our stories start a little bit more ordinarily than that. This story begins in a supermarket with a young man who is clocking out of work for perhaps the last time, though he doesn't quite know it yet. He hears a distant roar of thunder, and he glances outside and watches distant streaks of lightning. It's pouring outside, and he is not excited about going out in the rain. Nonetheless, his day at work is over, so he boldly strides outside and immediately gets soaked. He begins to move through the city streets, hoping to make his way home before he is soaked to the bone, before he knows that he'll be sick. He realizes that he has a chance to make it home in record time if he does something that he doesn't love to do. So he decides to take a shortcut through a small alleyway that cuts the distance between his place of employment and where he lives in half. This dark and grimy alleyway is unpleasant and narrow. It's cramped, and on more than one occasion he's been scared by homeless cats or by stray individuals who don't know the way. So he's hesitant to do this, but when he hears further thunder and he feels the rain's downpour increasing in intensity, he decides to cut his losses. He cuts into the alleyway. He begins to move. He's surprisingly dexterous, a little bit light on his feet, and as he runs, he notices a distant door. It stands out to him because he's been through this alleyway on occasion and he's never seen it before, but something about it is calling to him. As he's moving closer and closer to the door, he thinks about how even a temporary opportunity to step out of the rain would reinvigorate his spirits. So he decides that he's going to enter that door. When he reaches it, he pulls it open and he runs inside. He steps into a rather peculiar setup, owned by a rather peculiar individual, and he begins a journey. An adventure that will change his life. The unassuming young man looks around and takes in the oddity of his surroundings. He's inside of a store of some sort, the one that seems to have been hastily unpacked and is only loosely ready for customers. There's a small table ahead of him, a cash register, and a figure behind it. The figure behind it is dressed in a green hoodie, and their face is completely obscured. They move just a little bit closer and take in the cashier's presence before asking them how they're doing and inviting them to peruse their wares. Their voice is friendly, but there's something scary about them. Perhaps it's the way that you can't see any bit of their face. Perhaps it's the way that their lime green hoodie just stands out. And then when the cashier looks down and takes note of what's on the table, his eyes widen in shock and confusion. The table is expanding before his very eyes, and on top of it, there are countless vials. Each vial is distinct. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, some of them have beverages inside of them, strange liquids that are multicolored, that are bubbling, that are almost alive. One of them is a vial of liquid that is glowing. The light is warm and hot, and when it reaches the cashier, it instantly dries up all of their clothes. It is such an oddity that the cashier can't voice any of the multiple questions that are going through his mind. He's stunned and alarmed and amazed and terrified all at once. He has so many questions, and the cashier of this store looks at him and lets out a quiet laugh before saying, "It's a lot, right? Don't worry. Take your time." As a way to encourage you to relax, the first one's on the house. You won't even have to pay for it. Why don't you just come over here and take a look at what I've got in stock? Maybe you'll find something that's just the right flavor for you. The younger, more mundane cashier is stunned into silence as he studies the vials on the table. He gets closer to them as he notices the table expanding, defying physics and taking up more room than it should be physically possible to take up in the room. The room remains unchanged, somehow. And the cashier knows in his heart of hearts that he's seeing magic. He wants to believe. He's desperate to believe in the extraordinariness of this situation. He looks at the first vial in front of him, and he takes note of the red, swirling liquid within it. He looks closer at it, and he watches a card begin to appear in front of it. The card reads, "Essence of the Warlord," and then describes a number of abilities that the note claims whoever drinks the potion will receive. As the cashier takes this in, his peer, his kindred spirit of sorts, watches him. Though he cannot see the figure's strange expressions, there is indeed a look of sympathy and empathy on the entity's face. And the entity reassures the young cashier, encourages him, tells him that there is an essence, and says that word specifically in this table just for him. He just has to find it. And when he finds it, it'll be his to drink. And when he drinks it, well, that's where the story truly begins. That's where this prologue comes to an end. But there's more to this than meets the eye. For you see, for some people out in the multiverse, this strange occurrence is a reality. We are talking today about the Essence Meta Choose Your Own Adventure. The Essence Meta Choose Your Own Adventure is a Choose Your Own Adventure that I have covered in the past. It is one that I am very fond of, and it is one that I have made jumps for. And in it, the protagonist is usually someone who stumbled across a strange store filled with bottles that contain mysterious liquids. These liquids claim, or rather are claimed to by a strange shopkeeper, grants their drinkers superpowers. And the superpowers can be truly staggering in their variety. There are some essences that offer godhood. There's some essences that offer the power sets of comic book superheroes, amped up to truly immense degrees. There's some essences that give you lordship of planets and dimensions. There are essences that make you omnipotent. There are essences that let you make other essences, and there's essences that give you unlimited money. This Choose Your Own Adventure is fairly well known, though much to my dismay, it is not talked about very often on YouTube. We are going to end this video just by looking at part 1 of it, so that way people can see it. Part 1 is curious terminology. I want to do more videos on this series, maybe continue this as a full-fledged story on my channel, but for now, let's go ahead and move on over to part 1 of the Essence Meta, so that way we can glance at it together. We are now in part 1 of the Essence Meta Choose Your Own Adventure. This is one part of 9 distinctive Google documents that contain different essences created by dozens, very possibly over 100 members of the questionable questing community, as well as people from different parts of the internet who have learned about the Essence Meta and have decided to contribute to it. This particular set of Google Documents has not been updated in a while, but there is a bigger archive created by someone named Number 96 over on Questionable Questing. That particular document is one long document that is over 3,000 pages long. You can find it in multiple places. One of them is the Essence Meta Choose Your Own Adventure subreddit, and the other one is the actual archive over on Questionable Questing. Both are linked to the same document, although it gets pretty regularly updated and has gone from being originally, I think it was just under 2,000 pages in one of its first iterations, and now it is well over 3,000 in its latest iteration, which came out like maybe a week or two ago from when I am posting this video. As you can see, we already know the basic details of this particular Choose Your Own Adventure. You somehow find yourself standing before a shrouded figure who themselves stands behind a table. On the table, there's a bunch of different potions. You can pick as many as you want to pick. You'll gain their superpowers, and then you'll be able to go on adventures of your own. In addition, you can pick additional Choose Your Own Adventures or none to add on to this if you want further adventures, which could be very exciting. This is part 1, so it does contain some additional stuff, although some of these other documents probably have the same intro text for anyone who is reading part 4 or part 5 without knowing about part 1. This is the index. Trigger Happy Jabberwocky is either the original inventor of the Essence Meta Choose Your Own Adventure, and I believe that's the case, or one of the original contributors, and has done an incredible job maintaining this set of documents for several years, although I will say that this particular set hasn't been updated in a while. But there are also several other people who contributed to this particular document right here. These people were some of the original contributors. You might notice a few familiar names if you are part of the Jump Chain or broader Choose Your Own Adventure community, such as Cliff, Troy, King Lugia. If you are, especially if you're someone who is active in places like Space Battles or Questionable Questing, you'll probably recognize at least some of the people here. So, as we end the video, I do want to go ahead and show off just 2 essences, so that way you can see what essences look like when they are created and written out. Essence of the Warlord is the first essence on this document. The gist of this essence is that it gives you a body that is built for warfare, a mind that is incredibly good at conducting warfare, and also some unique abilities that are related to warfare. You have powerful regenerative abilities, and you can call forth homunculi soldiers that are trained and equipped to, at the very least, the standard of whatever world that you are on. As you get stronger, the number of homunculi you can call at any one time is gradually increased, and these homunculi are absolutely loyal to you. So, this is a very good essence if you just want to be a conquering adventurer, if you just want to go places, fight people, and have a grand time. This is a very good essence. Another essence that I thought we could go ahead and take a look at is Essence of the Mad Doctor. I am very fond of this essence. This essence gives you beyond genius level intellect, perfect memory, the ability to do science in a bunch of kooky and quirky ways, especially alchemical sciences that allow you to create potions that can do almost anything, and then sort of biochemical sciences that allow you to both create really cool homunculi that are superior to the regular versions of whatever animals they were based on, and also the ability to create other creatures like Frankenstein-esque creatures and chimeras. Additionally, you have the ability to conjure ingredients for your goofy sciences from thin air, which is, as you can imagine, an incredibly overpowered ability. As you can see here, essences are a lot of fun. I really liked the idea of doing a new video on the Essence Meta and starting it off with a story before we got into stuff like, oh, what is the Essence Meta and all of that. I do think that in the future I might continue this series. I might even continue this story if people enjoyed it, and talk about more essences so that way people can get a bigger idea of what the essence meta is, what different essences look like, because in this particular video I showed you 2 essences by the original essence crafter, as far as I can tell, Trigger Happy Jabberwocky. So I'd be more than happy to show you all what other essences look like in the future. Let me know what you think of this. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you're new here, I'm so stoked to have gotten the chance to get to know you a little bit. And if you are a returning friend, I'm delighted that you've decided to make me a part of your day again. I am going to go ahead and end the video here, but I hope that you're having a wonderful time, and I can't wait to learn what you think. Bye-bye, everyone!